Where the legends play, Willie 1550 and 98.7. Hello there, I'm Kenny Graves, and on the phone with me right now, one of my favorites. Not only is she a very successful actress of stage and screen, she is an author, radio show host, and public speaker. She is also a former ballet soloist and educator. She is the awesome Dee Wallace. Miss Dee, how are you doing this evening?
Well, I'm doing great, especially after that fabulous intro. Thank you.
Pleasure's mine. So glad to have you on. Well, I have to start here. How early did you take an interest in acting?
Oh, my goodness. I was kind of groomed for it at a very early age. My family was quite poor. My mother was quite an amazing actress in local theater in Kansas City and in our church. And watching her is what really stirred it up within me. I remember watching her from the pew in church, and she was giving a presentation of her own, and people all around me were crying. And I went, oh, I want to do this for people. I want to move people like Mommy does. And the rest is kind of history, really.
Yes, ma'am. You attended the University of Kansas, go Jayhawks, and
Yay.
You earned your education degree. You even taught high school drama for a while. What steered you into pursuing acting as a career at that point?
Well, I knew I always wanted to do it, but my mother really wanted me to, quote, have something to fall back on. So I got my teaching degree. I taught a year of high school, and then I said, Mommy, if I'm ever going to do this, I got to do this now. And she said, yep, and I support you, and I'm scared to death for you to leave Kansas because I'd never been out of Kansas before. But you got to go live your dream, baby. So she supported me, and off I went.
And you did indeed. You studied drama at HB Studio in New York. How was your time there?
Oh, well, working with Uta Hagen, I was so blessed to work with Miss Hagen toward the end of her career. And, learned a lot and did a lot of commercials and did a lot of industrial shows because I started out as a dancer. So I danced my way across the country as a Kugel peanut and ended up in Hollywood. And I started my career out here in Hollywood then.
And you found your mentor, correct?
I did, Charles Conrad. Yes, sir. Boy, you've done your homework. I'm impressed.
Well worth the effort. I was looking forward to this chat for some time. Well, you had some TV roles, and you played Nettie, the maid, in The Stepford Wives before appearing in the horror classic The Hills Have Eyes in 1977. So how was that time for you, garnering some good success early on?
It was quite miraculous. I'm a big believer in naivete because if you're naive, you're not in fear. So I just thought, well, I'm going to go be a movie star, and I'm going to be a successful actress, and why can't I? And, so I did. And it was quite amazing how quickly my career took off. Between the time I left Kansas and started in ET was just a little under 7 years.
You were cast in the lead role in The Howling, and that was a milestone moment. So what are your memories of that project as a leading actress?
Well, it was very exciting, and my husband, or my fiance at the time, played my husband in the film. They didn't know we were engaged. We each got it on our own merits. But working with Joe Dante and being able to really lead a film was a whole new, entirely different experience for me. And I learned a lot, and I really learned how much I was capable of.
and it kept snowballing from that point. Your next film did pretty well at the box office. You played Mary, the mother of Elliot and Gertie on E.T. the Extraterrestrial. So tell us about that record-setting film.
Well, you know, that's like, what's it like to be in The Wizard of Oz? It lasts forever. You know, it is our Wizard of Oz. It has touched so many people and changed so many lives. It's just quite remarkable how that film reaches into a person's heart and kind of catapults them into a different place.
Yes,
and there are very few films in the history of film that have done that. The Wizard of Oz, Peter Pan, you know, there's a few, but E.T. is certainly ranked there among the top for me and for the world, I think.
Absolutely. And I know you've heard a ton of fan stories of how that inspirational movie helped them through the years.
Yes, really touching. About a little autistic boy. His mother had never heard him speak. He was 10 years old, and she took him to see the re-release of E.T., and on the way home, he started saying all the lines that E.T. said in the film. Another young man came up to me and said, "Miss Wallace, I'm from a very small town in the South, and when I was in middle school, my parents got divorced, and I was an outcast. And then your film came out that summer, and you were a single mom, and all of a sudden, it gave everybody permission to include me again." So you never know the power of film and how it's going to reach people and shift their lives.
Absolutely. Makes a big impact.
Yep.
Well, the following year, you had the role of Donna Trenton in a movie that still this day gives me chills. The thriller Cujo. What a performance. Tell us about that one.
Well, Cujo is my favorite film, not to do, but I'm very, very proud of my work in Cujo.
Mm-hmm.
It just took me further than I ever thought I could go, and asked for me to touch parts of me that I didn't even know I had. And I get a lot of feedback that, oh my gosh, I saw it when I was younger, but now I'm a parent, and I go see it, and it's a whole different film.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And you know, like I said, to this day, I break out into a sweat when I watch it. Was the dog at least nice in real life?
Oh, the dogs were fabulous and kind and sweet. There were 13 dogs that played Cujo.
Wow.
And they were all trained to go after toys. So it was all a big game for them. And they were sweethearts, and we had to tie their tails down because they were wagging them all the time.
Oh, yeah, you can't be menacing if you're wagging your tail.
No, exactly.
Well, my compliments on your performance. You've heard it 1,000 times, but the way you had the terror and everything that is rolled up in those emotions, you brought that on the screen like I've rarely ever seen. So that was just phenomenal work.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Last I looked, you currently show 268 acting credits so far, including some great TV work. So tell me a little about Just Add Magic.
Well, Just Add Magic is a beautiful series on Amazon Prime, written for children from about 4 years old through 13 or 14. Mm-hmm. And I play the grandmother in it, and it's about magic. It's about a magic cookbook, but it teaches really, really good lessons about friendship and independence and working together. And it's just, it doesn't dumb things down for the kids. It's a very intellectual, beautifully done series, and I'm really proud to be a part of it.
Well, you were also a part of 13 fanboy with a lot of great stars. Now, I spoke with Laura Park Lincoln before the premiere. I think she was kidnapped, but I was happy that you came through okay. So how was it working on that project? It was interesting.
Oh, we had so much fun. Deborah Voorhees, the director, has become a very, very good friend. We were just at the Albuquerque Film Festival together where they showed Cujo, and we did a big Q&A around it. We just had a great time, and I remember when I got the script, I read it, and I went, oh, my God, I can't believe that someone hasn't done this idea before. You know, that all of the major actresses get stalked by the killer. I mean, it's so simple, but you'd think it would have been done before, but nope.
Yeah, very unique, and that's what makes it. It's going to be have a cult following for a long time. And you also have a ton of projects in the pipeline, but I saw you were on a panel fairly recently talking about your upcoming movie, Nix. What can you share on that one?
Well, Nix is a psychological thriller. I think my horror fans are going to absolutely love this movie. I play, I think, the craziest character that I've ever played, even beyond the Frighteners. And, you know, I remember saying to Anthony Ferrante, our director, I said, look, I'm just going for it. You pull me back if it's too much. And he never pulled me back. So she's crazy and out there, but what I really loved about it is that it brings both sides of me into one project. You know, I'm kind of a dichotomy. I spend half of my time doing horror films, another half of my time healing people from fear through my healing work. And this picture is really about how we create the monsters that are after us. And I'm just really proud of my work in this film.
Very good. Look forward to seeing that one. And switching gears now, you've had great success as an author. So please talk a little about the latest book, Born.
Oh, I'm so proud of this book. You know, when the pandemic hit, I got up one day and the news feed said all the studios are closing. And I thought, oh my God, how am I going to make a living? And I'm a clairaudient channel, and my channel said, Dee, the studios aren't your living, your consciousness is your living. Get up every day and say, okay, what can I create today? And one day I got up and said, okay, what can I create today? And the channel said, write the book. Not a book, the book. And I knew, because I had been having conversations with people, you know, of all the thousands and thousands of private sessions that I've done and events that I've led and trainings and speaking, it's very, very, very clear to me that people study the creation process and how to manifest, and they talk about it, and they read about it, and they go to workshops about it, but they don't really have a clue how to do it. Uh-oh. And so I wrote a book that is literally the formula for creating anything in your life.
Well, to follow up on that, a couple of things about the book. Why is love so important to get what we want?
Because it's the strongest force in Earth that creates. We think of it as a namby-pamby little gushy feeling. But if you break down, see, my work is a lot of combination of spirituality and brain science and some religion, all three of which are saying exactly the same thing in different words. So the first thing you're taught is that God is omniscient and omnipresent. So is energy. You're taught in 5th grade, everything's energy. Energy isn't positive or negative. Energy is neutral. But energy must be directed. And we direct our energy consciously or unconsciously through our thoughts and our beliefs and our feelings. So what's the first thing you learn in Bible school is God is love. Mm-hmm. So the most powerful force on earth that creates everything is love. So whatever you want to create in your life, you have to bring love to it. And we don't. We do the opposite. We judge money and don't like money because we don't have it. And we judge money and we don't like our bodies because we have some kind of dis-ease in them. We're judging other people. So it's difficult to create the love around the relationships that we want. It's simple and it's a no-brainer, and we're taught from the time we can understand words, say what we don't want, and to judge and to struggle in order to create and manifest the things that we desire in our life. And it works the other way.
Well, building on that, explain what the love place is and why it's so important.
Well, it's important because everybody says, oh, I don't know how to love myself. How do you do that? And so do it with me right now. So think of anything that opens your heart and makes you smile as soon as you think of it. Okay? See, I go right to my doggie. What did you go to?
I have grandkids.
Grandkids, perfect. Some people go to a beautiful place in nature, right? So if you know how to instantly and easily access love, then you know how to love, and you know the feeling of love, and you know how to get to love. You just have to choose to send that to yourself and to literally be the frequency of love itself. Not, we're all trying to get it or we're trying to give it, but very few of us are trying to be it.
That's prolific. I like that. Well, moving on here, you also wrote a children's book, and hopefully I pronounced this correctly. It's called Bupalupaloo and the I Love Me's. So tell the parents about that one.
Oh, I'm so jazzed about this book. Well, let me preface this by saying a child's self-esteem and how they see themselves and how they see themselves in the world and how they see the world seeing them, locked into their brains by 8 years old. 8 years old. So whatever we were taught verbally or whatever was modeled before us, our child brain says that's the way the world works. So if you had a father like mine who was an alcoholic and couldn't hold down a job, and my mom had to go to work and take care of all the kids and everything, in my little girl brain, I said, oh, that's the way the world works. Women take care of men. Until I realized and became conscious through this work that that's not what I wanted. I wanted someone who was complete in himself, and I needed to be complete in myself so we could come together and create a complete relationship. Another example is my mother's family was raised Southern Baptist. We were brought up in the Methodist church, but I remember my grandma saying, they're the rich people, we're the good people. So in my little girl brain, I said, oh, money's bad. God doesn't love you, and people judge you if you have too much money and you're not a good person. So cut to 30 years later, and I'm starring in E.T. and making money, and all of a sudden they went, oh my gosh, I'm one of them. And I pulled back within me for a whole year until I worked through doing the work I do, finding out all of the beliefs that were taught to me through love, that were taught to them through love, and that's what they mean by sins of the fathers just getting passed down. It's not a truth. Money has no consciousness of its own. Our consciousness is what decides what we do with our money.
Now, both books are available on Amazon. Are they also at all the normal locations as well?
They are at some Barnes & Noble, or if you want me to sign it for you, you can go to iamdeewallace.com. Let me know it, and you can order it right online there on my website, and I'll sign it to you and mail it off to you.
Fantastic. Well, I was very impressed by this. I read you gave your first TED Talk in 2018. How was that experience?
Oh, it was a dream come true for me. I had always wanted to do a TED Talk, and really it's about this little child that's within us who's running the show, and how to become more conscious of the limitations. You see, your little boys and little girls that are inside us are trying to keep us safe, but they're trying to keep us safe through erroneous and limiting and false beliefs. And it was very gratifying when I finished my TED Talk. I had 3 different psychiatrists and psychologists come up to me and say, Dee, we never, ever taught child from this perspective.
Well, that's fantastic. A woman of many talents. Now, you also host a radio show called the Conscious Creation Radio Show. How did that start up, and where can fans find it?
You can find it. The easiest way is to go to my website, quite frankly, or you can go to Blog Talk Radio and put in Conscious Creation. It's on Sunday mornings at 9 a.m. Pacific time. And you can call in with any question for the channel, and the channel will give you guidance. But there's, on the homepage of iamdeewallace.com is the phone number and how to access the show.
All right. Well, you shot a lot of films this year that are in post-production, including, let's see if I got all these, Stream, Incubus, Homestead, Bits, Birthday Boyfriend, Campfire, The Pitchfork, Final Cut, Outlaw Land, Legends of Catclaw Mountain, and Catch a Fallen Star. Do you take any time off?
I don't. I don't, and now I'm shooting recurring roles on 2 TV shows right now too. So there's a lot of juggling that goes in my office. But I'm very obstinate about holding balance in my life. So 6 o'clock comes, I walk out of my office, my guy walks out of his office, I pour a glass of wine, we have dinner together, we watch a movie or whatever we want to do, and yeah, it's really, really important to do what you love and to keep the balance with your family and your health.
Unplug when you're done with your day.
You bet.
Because it'll all be there tomorrow. I can stay here 15 hours a day. There's still stuff I should be doing. So
I know. What is up with that? What is up with that?
And I've heard from experts that say multitasking does not work.
Well, I have a definition for multitasking. Is that you totally finish and complete one task, and then it's fine to go on to an entirely different one, right?
Yes.
But you have to really focus and complete on that one before you move on.
All right. And what type of advice would you give, Miss D, for a young person wanting to get into acting as a career?
Be yourself. Everybody thinks they've got to be somebody else that, quote, they want you to be. And it's not true. They want really who you are. Now, you can bring it in through a character, but you're the only instrument you have to use. So use the truth of who you are through and let the character channel through you.
I've heard people say you just be yourself and turn the volume all the way up.
Well, I certainly did that in the Knicks, for sure. Again, you bring yourself into all the characters you play, but I'm happy to say that most characters I play aren't really me.
Gotcha. The website is IamDeeWallace.com. You can find out all her social media right there. And Knicks, they have a release date for that one yet?
Yesterday.
Oh, it's out. Okay.
Yeah, it's out. Limited run in theaters, and you can find it on pretty much every streaming service. Perfect for a Halloween movie, guys.
I agree with that wholeheartedly. Miss D, what a pleasure. Thank you so very much for taking the time. I've really enjoyed it.
Oh, thank you, as have I, and thank you for being so well prepared. So appreciated.
Well, I'm a fan of your work. You deserve nothing less. But tell folks again, is anything else you got going on besides the radio show, the new movie that just dropped, and the new books? Or did that cover it?
I think that covers it, dude.
Well, for the rest of this year, maybe. And, of course, 2023
Other than
is
the
coming.
audition I'm preparing to put down for tomorrow. So...
Well, continued success on all your platforms, ma'am. And again, thank you very much. Enjoy your weekend.
Thank you. Much love to you. Bye-bye.
Yes, ma'am. For the amazing Dee Wallace, I'm Kenny Graves on Willie 1550 and 98.7.